Hey gang, so today I'm looking at something that was sent to me by Proxy EDC. It's the Leap in 80s Synthwave Cyber Illusion colorways in G10 with a little bit of titanium, stainless steel, and pay. So I've got to be honest, when I got this thing, I didn't think very much of it. I thought, oh, it's just this tiny little throwaway slider. I mean, it's cool. Proxy EDC sent it for me to have a look at, but I was like, this thing is too small to really enjoy until I started using it. And I actually kind of love this little thing now. It is a perfect size for your pocket. It's a car fidget. It's an office fidget. It's got a really cool little feedback system in it, and you can take it apart without screws. You don't need tools. Okay, let's get this on the lens and have a look. It is the Leap by Proxy EDC. Let's go.
Running through the fire, let's leave it behind. We gotta go now, go now. We gotta go now.
Okay, here we go with the Leap. This is kind of an interesting one because I really didn't think much of this when I first got it. I just thought it was a cheap little nothing fidget, to be honest. I wasn't really, I didn't have high hopes for it, but as I started getting used to it, because of course that's what I have to do when before I review things, I make sure I use it for a while so that I give it a fair shot. This absolutely changed my mind. This is I'll say a little gem of a slider. So let's get into it. Let's find out why. So first, let's look at the sound. There are two components creating the sound. There's a track that we're running across, and there's this little ball that slides. And you can see inside, before I even take it off, the ball bounces from magnet to magnet as the case kind of pushes it. And if we take the ball out, now the ball is also magnetized. So this is the way I'm doing it right now is a little tricky, but let's just see if we can do it here. Okay, so the ball is out, and you can even hear it without the ball. So there's something going on. It's not as strong, obviously, without the ball. It's definitely meant to have the ball in it. But you can change it up. So the next part are the haptics. Now, what do you get from this? Well, you get kind of a zipper feeling, and the ball gives you this little soft jump. So you kind of get this sort of double feeling, right? You get the nice little zipper slide that it's kind of vibrating along your fingers, and then you get this really satisfying little hop of this ball, and it kind of clicks into place. So I really like these types of fidgets that give you two different types of haptics. This one is actually really, really nice the way it works. So very satisfying, really nice feeling on the haptic. Ergonomics. Now this is tiny. This is the one downside to these for people with, I'd say, medium size to large size hands. This can cause a bit of cramping because of its size. So you really, it's not something that I can play with this way. Let's see. This angle gets tiring. Because you see how it causes your hand to kind of create this little, I don't know, this little shape here? That ends up leading to fatigue at some point. So I would say if you're going to play with it like this, it's not something you can sustain for very long, because it does sort of tire your hands that way. What I find though is if I cradle it in my hand, and then I'm just using my thumb, like just one part is being pushed instead of this, I find that's actually a lot better. It kind of gives me a bit of relief. It gives me a bit of relief in my fingers. The question too is whether you want to slide it from the bottom or I guess it's the bottom. I call this the bottom because there's no opening on it. Or if you're going to do it from the top. Now, the thing about the top is this is where all the grip is. So it is something that you're probably better off pushing from the top. But frankly, it's so small that it doesn't really matter. Again, unless you've got really small hands, in which case I guess there would be a preference. But in this case, the grips work really well here. Although I do find I don't really use them because to get, again, it is pretty small. So it's just sort of a search with your fingers to get seated on the grip properly. I find I just kind of stick to the middle because there isn't enough restriction. There isn't enough sort of force pushing back against you or tension that you can't just really push this easily from any direction. Now, these little indents though, like this is shaped really, really nicely. This has a really great little curve to it. And I do have to say the G10 does not just feel like regular plastic. Like this feels industrial. It's got a really nice design to it. It's very light. So in fact, let's look at that. Let's look at the weight. Let's see, where's my unit here? 26.5 grams, 0.93 ounces. I don't even know what D or T is. But grams, ounces. Very light. This is something that you can toss in your pocket. You know, it's fine. It doesn't get in the way. It's not a big deal. I do find with lighter fidgets too, you can kind of drop them, and that also is not as big a deal. Now I've got kind of a rubber mat. Yes, this is sort of the new look for the channel now with this rubber mat. There's actually some traction in it, so I can actually, you know, put screws and springs on here, and it's not a big deal. They don't roll away. But again, I do find lighter fidgets can, I find they can sustain a little bit more, which is weird because you would think heavier, stronger, and that can be the case, but when they drop, there's also a stronger impact. So something like this is just, I find this one a bit of a no-brainer. Like it, you know, you just pop it in your bag, pop it in your pocket, and you just take it with you, and it's not a big deal. You don't really worry about it. Okay, let's look at, let's open this up, but first I want to show you what it comes with. So these are, let me see if I can get this here. I don't really want to zoom out if I can help it. These are the accessories. So you get quite a bit in here. You get all kinds of magnets. I mean, again, I'll just kind of like, we'll sort of walk through this just to show you different size magnets here. Smaller, like there's all kinds of stuff. Springs. There you go. Springs. What else do we have? More springs. More springs. I mean, you can really customize this to your liking. Lots of different balls in here. Springs. And tiny little, I want to say nitrous oxide. I think that's wrong. But these tiny little black balls in here as well. So all that to say, there is a lot that you can do in here. And we've even got everything sort of laid out. So different magnet strengths. Here, it's actually like this. There we go. So we've got different magnet strengths, and even the balls themselves are different strengths. So like you've got N52 and N35 magnetic balls instead, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so let's open this up. Now, what's interesting about... Okay, so let's open this up. Now, what's interesting here is there are no springs. This is all held together magnetically, and there are so many areas for, and there are so many areas for modifications in here. Let's just get right into it. So when you have a look at this, right, it's always a good idea first to open up and look at the track direction to see where the balls are, to see what's going to come out. Now, in this case, if we open here, we can see that we have a track on either side. Now, normally that means there's a ball in here. I know for a fact, because I've been in here, that I don't have any balls loaded in those tracks yet. So it's a little safer to open this up. I can open it up and not worry about things rolling out. However, in a lot of cases, just remember that if you have a ball in there, you just want to be careful when you open it. You don't want to open it sideways because things are going to fall right down. So you can just open it up, and it's easier to kind of put into the open position and just lift it off. Now, what we have here are these two magnets. These are the magnets that the ball snaps to. And in here is this PEI or PEI plate that the magnets sit in. So as they sit, this plate slides. And when it slides, the clicking sound is coming from those two little super tiny balls in here. Ball on each side, and there's a spring pushing it out from both sides. Now, this is where you can start to modify by putting a stronger spring in there, and that might give us a stronger, more feedback. And we have the ball. So if we come back to our kit here, let's see, and we kind of look at what we've got. There are so many ways to switch this out. So for example, we can switch out just the little balls in the slider. Let me get the actual magnetic ball out. And because it's a magnet, it's easy to just pop right out. And we'll see what happens is the ball just hops from one magnet to the other. So I'm going to leave that here for now. And we're going to look at the differences between these balls. So let's see, we can put in a stronger magnetic ball. So I'm going to try to upgrade just the ball, and let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to put this back. I'm going to line these magnets up. I'm going to take my ball, pop it in. So that actually feels like a louder click, but let's compare it. So right now, this is the N52. So the N35 is a little softer. So that's kind of up to you. Now let's see. Let's see what else we can do here. Now inside we do have this guy. Now these are always tricky to take out because the balls go flying on both sides. So before we get into that, I guess you can't put any other balls in there. Let's make sure that we've got room to move so that things don't get lost. Okay, so we want to lift this out, and we want these balls to hopefully not fly out either way because they're being pushed out by a spring. That's tricky. Let me get this ball out. The ball comes out easily because this lid is not in the way. I'm just going to do that. And let's see about popping this guy out. Now, what I am going to do is when I lift, I'm going to put a finger on each side. And that is hopefully going to prevent these from pushing too far out and sort of flying off my table here. So I'm going to push it all the way to the side, because as I'm lifting here, I don't want it to accidentally slip past my fingers. So I'm going to lock it into the side. I mean, lock it, you know what I mean? I'm pushing it to the edge. Got my fingers in the way. And then let's see if we can just kind of lift this off. Okay, so now we can see that I have propped it up and it slides over a little bit. Now, if I push this any more, I know these balls are going to come flying out. You see how they're just sitting, waiting? So they're being held by this little edge here. So as I push it over once more, I want to be really careful. Now, this is also something I've learned while trying to take this apart, is you see how we have tracks? So there's a track here, which means this is locked in. So this can't pull out. Initially, I thought you could just pry it out. You can't. What you do is you lift it a little bit so that it kind of clears the edge here. And then I'm going to put my fingers on the sides and I'm just going to slide it out. And then I'm going to gently release. And what's happened is the spring inside has kind of retracted a little bit because it's also magnetic. So I've got a ball here and I've got this magnetic spring. And I've got this other ball. So really, really tiny, tiny pieces here. Okay, so we've got really tiny pieces. Now, what we can do with this, though, this gets really interesting. So I'm going to put this down. Is we can try a couple of things. So inside our kit, we have more springs and more of these little black balls, which I called black nitrate. I think that's what they are, but I'm probably using the wrong term. Now, what I can also do is switch it out for these little white guys. Now, sometimes these are plastic, sometimes these are porcelain. I always kind of get those wrong. So, a few things. One, we can easily replace these just to try out a single spring, but then there's also room to double this up, so we can do a second spring with another set of balls in it. So let's try just replacing with the white balls. Now, I'm going to put the black ones back so that I know where they are. It's so important to clean your space up every time you work so that you don't accidentally hit something and it goes flying. So I'm even going to take out, or I'm going to put away these two spare white balls that I'm no longer using. Just for now. Okay, so let's just see the sound change we get from these white balls. They might be ceramic. I don't think they are, but you never know. Okay. Okay, so what do we have here? We've got one on each side. What I'm going to do is press them in like that. Now this gets tricky because you see how this dropped? I can't slide this in anymore. But I can pop the whole track out if I want. So the whole track is in here magnetically. Now I can just make sure I'm lined up properly. Now, in all honesty, this is what I should have done in the first place. I should have lifted the whole track out. That just makes it so much easier. Okay, so we have this track, and the track is just magnetically attached to the shell. And that's it. Once you have this guy Back in. We can try it. I don't know that I'm really noticing a big difference. But let's try it with 2. Okay, so what I want to do is go back now and try again with the original balls that I had in here, but I want to double it up with the spring. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. Let's get our lid off. Now when pushing, the reason I moved this, I'm moving kind of like the little slider part out of the way, is I don't want to push on that in case I, you know, accidentally force it, damage the track or something, push it off the track. So what I'm going to do is I'm sliding it out of the way so that I can make sure I'm just pushing on a metal part. I lift it, and that's it. All right, so let's get these out of here. Again, I'm going to keep my fingers on the side. And I'll put the palm balls back in. And now, let's get these guys back out. But we're going to double it up. We're going to get 4 of them. Now these are really, really tiny, and when things are this small, they are volatile. So they will go flying everywhere. Really, really tough to control. Now the question is, what size spring? Like, there are all these different spring sizes in here, and it's pretty tricky to know which one you're using and why, you know, why it matters. So let's just see. This is the standard one, and we're going to see if I can match it up. This looks a little different, a little thinner. I think again, we're a bit thinner. Okay, come on. The best way to get springs unstuck is to just keep spinning them. Okay, so those look to be about the same. I'm hoping. I mean, honestly, who knows when they're this small? I mean, that looks pretty close to me. Okay, well, let's just see. So we're going to load these up. Now, this is going to get trickier because we've got 4 of these little guys we're putting in. So it means you have to be able to control them. Where'd you go? And they are so small. That is the one thing with these types of fidgets that you can modify. It's great to be able to go in and do stuff, but so frustrating to work with components this small. Very, very tough. So like right now, I don't even know how I'm going to get my finger. No, see, I just turned my hand and I dropped one already. Okay. But I do know the spring is still in there, so let's load the springs in. Maybe we'll try this way. We'll do one side at a time. Okay, so we have them both on the one side. I'll turn it over. Come on now. All right, so now I have them on both sides. Now this is the tricky part. So line it up with the track. We can see here there's a little track space inside. And there's this little lip here. So we pop that in. Now we've got both. Okay, that definitely gives us a stronger feedback here. So let's see. So you can see that we're starting to kind of beef this up a little bit. So even switching out the ball now, the magnet, the N35, and let's change that to an N52. Okay, that makes a really big difference, actually. Okay, let's pop this open. So the last thing we want to look at here are these magnets. So we can even switch these magnets out to give it a softer feel or a stronger feel, I guess. Let's see here. So these magnets are glued in. And we have, now I believe these are the same strength. Yeah, so they're just spares. However, what we also get is a second middle magnet, which tells me we can probably, let's see if it'll stay. I don't, maybe not. There might be too much magnetic. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. So let's try it with 3 magnets in the middle. Line it up. We have our ball there. Oh. So with the magnet in the middle, that locks the ball in. Because see, the ball kind of keeps the piece together. The ball, by sitting on that track, prevents the whole thing from opening easily. So I think you really do need the ball in there. But the ball takes away that snap. Or I'm sorry, the middle magnet takes that snap away because the ball is now sticking to the middle magnet. You can see it as we roll it. Yeah. So then if we take it out, Now you get the snap because it's forcing the ball to jump from side to side. So, gang, final thoughts on this. There's a lot. And in fact, you know, for such a small fidget, this has been a very, very long video. But as you can see, there's a ton you can do with this. And sometimes less is more. Like, having more options isn't better. Sometimes I find it confusing because I'm not sure what I like and I keep tweaking. But I think I've landed on a good one. I like the double balls with like the 2 springs on the tracks. I have not tried messing with these other springs, but I think they're just, again, too many options for me. Just give me a couple of springs. Give me, you know, some balls. Let me make one choice maybe. Like, you can go stronger or weaker. Then I'm happy. I find too much for me though gets a little confusing. So. But this is great for people who want to tweak. And in fact, I just tweaked it now to the point where I like it more. So there is something to be said for options. I just don't want too many options. Let me keep it somewhat simple. But this is to me, this is an absolute keeper for anybody that just looks for something to throw in their pocket. It's a perfect size. It's small. It's discreet. And absolutely, I feel worth the money for the design that's gone into this. This is a winner. I really do enjoy it. And I was surprised by it. Okay, gang, thanks for watching.